Liverpool rocked by shock twists on and off the pitch. Don't miss a second. Subscribe now for instant Reds updates, exclusives, and breaking alerts.
News headline: Marc Guehi explains reasons for Man City move after Liverpool transfer nightmare. The defender has completed his January move to Manchester City from Crystal Palace, having seen a deadline day deal to Liverpool fall through in the final stages of the summer window. Marc Guehi has claimed he is joining the best club in England after signing for Manchester City just months after his failed move to Liverpool on transfer deadline day. The England international had been on the verge of sealing a switch to Anfield in September and even completed part of his medical before Crystal Palace pulled the plug on the transfer. Having remained at Selhurst Park, it became evident he was entering the final months of his Palace career. Liverpool had retained hope of signing Guay for free next summer when his contract expired, but a defensive injury crisis forced City to take decisive action this month. The clubs agreed a deal to bring Guay to the Etihad last week, and Liverpool was unwilling to match the financial package City made mid-season. Guay is understood to have agreed terms on a $30 million, $40 million deal and has signed a contract worth £200,000 a week that runs until 2031. "I am really happy and incredibly proud to be a Manchester City player," Guay said as the transfer was confirmed on Monday. "This move feels like the culmination of all the hard work I have put into my career. I am now at the best club in England and part of an unbelievable squad of players. It feels good to be able to say that. I want to grow as a player and a person, and I know at this club that's going to happen. I love football. It has given me so much for so long, and to be able to continue my development at Manchester City is a really special moment for me and my family. I absolutely cannot wait to get started now. I want to meet my teammates, train hard, understand what the manager expects of me, and then show the City fans what I can do." Guay is not eligible to play in City's midweek Champions League trip to Bodo Glimt, but could make his debut against Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday. The 25-year-old, who attracted interest from a host of Europe's elite clubs, leaves Palace after captaining the club to its first piece of silverware last year. The FA Cup winning skipper has inadvertently left a trail of destruction following his mid-season exit. Palace head coach Oliver Glasner confirmed on Friday that he plans to leave the club at the end of campaign, while he took aim at the club hierarchy in the wake of Saturday's defeat to Sunderland. "It's tough to survive," said the Austrian. "That's how it feels right now. We feel that we're being abandoned. There's no support." As for Liverpool, the decision not to rival City has drawn criticism from some supporters, particularly given the Reds have just 6 fit defenders available at present. Liverpool also held interest in Antoine Semenyo before his move to City earlier this window.
News headline: Man City offers Mohamed Salah hint as Arne Slot confirms Liverpool talks. Mohamed Salah is due to return to Liverpool this week, with Arne Slot having confirmed he'll be in talks with the winger ahead of what could be his first game back against Marseille. All eyes will be on Mohamed Salah this week as the winger makes his return to Liverpool, with doubts still hanging over his future at Anfield. The Africa Cup of Nations came to a dramatic end on Sunday, with Sadio Mane's Senegal triumphing over hosts Morocco in a controversial final. Salah's involvement in the tournament ended on Saturday, though, with Egypt losing on penalties to Nigeria in the third-place playoff. He's now said to make his arrive back on Merseyside ahead of the Reds' Champions League trip to Marseille, although it's not yet clear whether he will be involved in the penultimate league phase encounter. Manchester City looks like it may have answered that question, though. Pep Guardiola's side is heading to Norway to face Bodo Glimt on Tuesday, and Salah's Egypt teammate Omar Marmoush has been named in the traveling squad. Given Salah and Liverpool has an extra 24 hours to prepare for their game in France, it would appear likely then that the 33-year-old will be in the squad to face Marseille, although we will have to wait until Tuesday for that to be confirmed. Whether he is included could come down to his expected talks with Arne Slot upon his return, with the subject of his future set to come up following his outburst last month. Salah, of course, took aim at the club in an extraordinary interview, in which he accused Liverpool of throwing him under the bus after being named on the bench for 3 straight games, while claiming that his relationship with Slot had broken down. The Liverpool boss did appear to repair some bridges when Salah was restored to the squad against Brighton, having been left out against Inter Milan a few days earlier, although the Egyptian had suggested that the game against the Seagulls would be his last for the club. Whether that is the case will likely be answered this week, with Slot having confirmed that he has been in talks with Salah ahead of his return.
"We're in talks with him over what we expect over here," Slot revealed last week. That, or whether he will be available against Marseille, is something we're talking with him about. Slot added, "I'm happy that he comes back because Mo has been so important for this club. Even if I had 15 attackers, I still would have been happy if he came back, but that's not our current situation. I'm happy to have him back after an important game he has to play for Egypt."
News headline: Virgil van Dijk's transfer demand to Liverpool bosses has gone wrong after summer wish. When Liverpool won the Premier League last season, the closing weeks of the campaign were almost overshadowed by questions over the future of 3 of their key players. While Trent Alexander-Arnold ended up leaving for Real Madrid, captain Virgil van Dijk and top scorer Mohamed Salah both stayed at Anfield. Van Dijk's extension came with a warning, though. The Dutch international wanted Liverpool to make a statement in the transfer market after a limited amount of business was conducted during Arne Slot's first season as manager. "Whatever happens in terms of players going out, players coming in, I think it should be a big summer," Van Dijk said in April before his renewal. "I think they're planning to make it a big summer, so we all have to trust the board, as a Liverpool-connected fan, to do the right job. I think Liverpool should be able to challenge for titles in the upcoming years." He added, "I think we 100% can improve. If you take it all the way back to the previous summer, I didn't have a proper pre-season after playing at Euro 2024. You don't have time to work on what the manager really wants in terms of a training camp. This year, there is a training camp, and there is time for the team to work on what the manager wants, and I think that will then improve the team. There are still so many things to improve. I think a proper pre-season would definitely help the club in order to be even more consistent than we have already been." That wish was well and truly fulfilled. Liverpool spent more than any other Premier League club over the summer, breaking the competition's transfer record not once but twice, as Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak both moved to Anfield. The Reds' total spending topped £400 million, with Hugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, and Giovanni Leone all arriving alongside Giorgi Mamardashvili, whose move from Valencia was announced a year earlier. However, the title defense has not gone at all to plan. There have been other factors, of course. Luis Diaz's sale to Bayern Munich and the tragic death of Diogo Jota have robbed the club of 2 dangerous attacking outlets from last season, even before addressing the emotional impact on the players of Jota and brother Andre Silva losing their lives in July. Liverpool have also had on-field setbacks to deal with on the injury front. Isak has faced multiple spells on the sidelines after a lack of a proper pre-season brought a slow start, while Leone suffered a season-ending injury on his debut, and Connor Bradley is now out for months with a knee injury of his own. There will also unavoidably be questions about the failure of some new recruits to bed in as quickly as hoped. Ekitike has been the only immediate success story, though Wirtz has improved as the season has gone on, and Frimpong can point to injury-related disruption. Some will also no doubt make reference to Kevin Kelleher's impressive form since leaving for Brentford. The Irishman was always going to be set on an exit after the arrival of Mamardashvili, and there have been question marks over whether Liverpool should instead have left the Georgian in Spain and provided Kelleher with a clear eventual path to replace Alisson as first choice. With all this in mind, though, it's worth remembering the broader argument put forward by Van Dijk. He didn't just want Liverpool to strengthen immediately, he wanted them to challenge for more titles for years to come. The league triumph last term owed a lot to the likes of Ryan Gravenberch and Alexander McAllister stepping up in their second season at Anfield, while the front 3 of Salah, Mane, and Firmino had been at Anfield for some time already when the club ended a long title drought in 2020. This season may have been tough, but there's still time for the immediate struggles to turn into longer-term gains. News headline: Cody Gakpo should be banned as Liverpool star ripped apart and accused of cheating. Former FIFA referee Keith Hackett says the FA should investigate Cody Gakpo and ban the Liverpool forward after diving to win a penalty against Burnley. With the score level at 0-0, the Reds forward appeared to be bundled to the floor by Claret's midfielder Florentino Luis. Fans were not convinced, and Dominic Szoboszlai stepped up to the spot, but his shot cannoned off the crossbar from 12 yards out. Supporters felt it was justice after the awarding of the soft penalty. Now Hackett has gone further and claims a panel should be set up to suspend players for cheating. Former head of the PGMOL Hackett told Football Insider, "This is a dive and not a very good one. No way is this a penalty, and it's not even a clever one. Next, you really start to question the match official and what he's seen and also what VAR are doing to allow him to get to that decision. This was nowhere near a penalty.
They are acts of simulation where players are really good, fooling referees, and you need a few replays to rule it out. This is why I've said we need a panel on a Monday with a view to suspensions for players trying to cheat. We all want to win, but let's win properly. Liverpool did eventually break the deadlock through Florian Wirtz on the brink of halftime, with the German playmaker the standout performer for Arne Slot's side. However, Marcus Edwards restored parity in the second half, just after the hour mark, finding the back of the net to give the relegation battlers a huge point on the road. Burnley boss Scott Parker also felt the decision to award a penalty was a soft one, but was pleased with his side's response in the second half. He said, "We had to weather a lot in the first half, but we showed more of our quality in the second half. We changed a few things at halftime. It was important we were still in the game then. We were braver in possession and well worthy of our goal. It was an incredible finish by Edwards. The penalty was soft, but once the referee gives it on field, it's never going to be overturned. The key for us was getting in at halftime still in the game so we could fix a few things."
News headline: Bayern Munich chief rejects untrue claims involving Florian Wirtz and Wirtz Diaz. News in details. Bayern Munich director of sport Max Eberl has dismissed a suggestion that he was happy that Florian Wirtz rejected the chance to move to the club. The former Bayer Leverkusen man chose to move to Liverpool ahead of Bayern in the summer transfer window. As an alternative, the German club instead made their move for Liverpool's Wirtz Diaz, who has impressed in his first few months with the club. Bayern paid a fee of £65 million to the Reds for the transfer. As well as Bayern, Liverpool saw off competition from Man City to complete the signing of Wirtz. The transfer saw the club pay a fee of £100 million, rising to £116 million. The German struggled in his early appearances in the Premier League, but has now started to show his quality as he continues to adapt to English football. After playing 12 Premier League games without a goal contribution, Wirtz has 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 9 league appearances for Liverpool. Over in Germany, Diaz has not had as much of a settling-in period. The Colombian hit the ground running with 3 goals and 2 assists in his first 3 Bundesliga matches for Bayern. So far this season, he has scored 14 goals and provided 11 assists in 25 games in all competitions. When asked by German outlet Bild if it was true that he was happy with Wirtz's move to Liverpool, given it allowed the club to sign Diaz, Eberl refuted the claim. "Honestly, that's not true, because we would also have been very happy if Florian Wirtz had chosen to sign for Bayern," he said. "He didn't do it and preferred the Premier League instead. But we are very, very happy that we made another very good decision by signing Lucho. The two of them together wouldn't have been possible. As I said, we're not exactly printing money either." Having improved his form throughout the season, Wirtz will now look to make an impact in the second half of the campaign. Liverpool are back in action on Wednesday when they take on French side Marseille away from home in the Champions League. They then return to Premier League action on Saturday when they travel to the South Coast to take on AFC Bournemouth. Arne Slot's men have drawn their last 2 Premier League games and will be looking to get back to winning ways.
News headline: Premier League star emerges as Federico Chiesa alternative after transfer decision. Federico Chiesa has been heavily linked with the return to Juventus in the January transfer window, although with Liverpool holding firm, the Italian club now seems to be looking elsewhere. Juventus looks to be moving on to other targets, as Federico Chiesa appears likely to stay put at Liverpool this month. The winger has been linked with a move away from Anfield as he continues to struggle for minutes. Chiesa has largely had to make do with cameos off the bench ever since he joined the Reds in the summer of 2024, with the Italian having made just 8 starts across a season and a half. With Arne Slot continuing to limit his chances, Chiesa has been touted for an exit, with reports in Italy throughout this month having suggested that a return to Juventus could be on the cards. Chiesa left the Turin club to join Liverpool, having been cast aside by Thiago Motta, although with Luciano Spalletti now in charge, it seems Juve would be interested in re-signing the 28-year-old. Reports have suggested that Juventus wants to sign Chiesa on loan for the remainder of the season, although that doesn't chime in with what Liverpool would be looking for. The Reds are not keen on letting the winger go, and it has been suggested that it would take a major permanent offer for the club to come to the table. As such, La Gazzetta dello Sport is now claiming that Juventus has turned its attention elsewhere and is looking further down the Premier League. It suggested that the Serie A club is in discussions with Crystal Palace over a deal for Jean-Philippe Mateta. An initial loan with a $33 million, $38 million obligation to buy has been touted for the French international.
A deal for Mateta would continue what is quickly turning into a mass exodus from Selhurst Park, with former Liverpool target Marc Guehi having already secured a move to Manchester City, while manager Oliver Glasner has confirmed he will be leaving the club in the summer. Mateta is not the only player being linked to Juve, though, with Atalanta's Daniel Maldini and Fenerbahce's Youssef En-Nesyri also discussed. In any case, it does seem more likely now that Chiesa will be staying put at Anfield this month. How much longer he stays beyond that, though, looks to be up in the air, with the Times suggesting that a summer departure is on the cards. Liverpool.com says, even with his limited chances, it only makes sense for Liverpool to hold on to Chiesa this month. With Alexander Isak out for a lengthy period, Hugo Ekitike will need as much support as he can get to share the workload up front. It does feel inevitable, though, that Chiesa will depart. It's just been a bizarre signing from the moment he arrived, with Slot seemingly not at all convinced on him.
News headline: Arne Slot and Curtis Jones footage emerges after Liverpool urged to make a transfer upgrade. Arne Slot and Curtis Jones were seen involved in a heated discussion during Liverpool's disappointing draw with Burnley, with a video from Anfield capturing a heated moment between Arne Slot and Curtis Jones. Arne Slot and Curtis Jones were seen involved in a heated discussion during Liverpool's disappointing draw with Burnley, as the pressure increases on the Reds' head coach. Although Liverpool extended its unbeaten run to 12 games across all competitions on Saturday, it was once again a performance that left more questions than answers about Slot's side amid what has been a poor campaign after last season's title win. The Reds spurned numerous opportunities as relegation-threatened Burnley managed to claim a point, becoming the third of the promoted teams this season to earn a draw at Anfield and leave their hosts just a point ahead of Manchester United in the race for the top four. A fourth straight draw in the Premier League was met with some boos from the Anfield crowd, with Slot coming under increasing pressure as his side's performances continued to leave plenty dissatisfied. With Xabi Alonso available after being fired by Real Madrid, the former Liverpool midfielder has been linked with replacing Slot, although the club is thought to still be backing the current head coach. Footage of players seemingly disagreeing with Slot, though, won't help his cause. In a video shared by a fan on social media, Jones can be seen remonstrating with his boss as he receives instructions during the second half of Saturday's game. What is said between the pair is not clear, although Jones does appear frustrated, which will not offer much encouragement to supporters, especially after Mohamed Salah's outburst last month. The winger is expected back with the Reds this week, with Slot having confirmed he's been in talks with Salah while he's been away at the Africa Cup of Nations, although the Egyptian's future at Anfield still looks to be up in the air. Jones's apparent disagreement with Slot comes as the Liverpool boss has been urged to seek an upgrade on the academy graduate in the transfer market by club legend Steve Nicol. I think if they brought a real midfielder in as well, I don't think Curtis Jones is a starter in Liverpool's best 11, the pundit told ESPN FC after the draw with Burnley. I don't have anybody at the top of my head, but Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, Ryan Gravenberch, no question, were fantastic last year, but it hasn't quite worked this year for whatever reason. I think they need somebody who's going to really shove one of them out to get them back to where they were, and I don't think Curtis Jones does that.